Good evening and welcome to Front Page on AIM Network India's definitive media organization and voice on everything AI and technology. Well, as we've all observed that some stories announce change, but tonight we're looking at stories that build it brick by brick, frame by frame. From animation pushing past imagination to AI power rising on the coast, from open source tools rewriting who gets to build intelligence to voice becoming India's next digital infrastructure. The ground is shifting. And here are the headlines for tonight. Mahavatar Narsimha, a 4.5-year, 100-artist epic built on Blender and Houdini, signals India's first serious leap toward a homegrown AI-accelerated animation industry that can rival global studios. Google has partnered with Adani to invest $15 billion in building a 1 gigawatt green AI data center campus in Visakhapatnam, a strategic move that cements India's role as a critical node in the global compute economy amid US-India trade tensions and the hyperscaler pause. Andrei Karpathy has released NanoChat, an open-source, full-stack, 8,000-line ChatGPT-style framework that lets anyone train and deploy their own LLM in under 4 hours on a single GPU cluster, marking a major shift in lowering the barrier to building frontier-class AI systems. And finally, with ultra-low latency, GPU-light architecture and privacy-first design, Smallest.ai is building India's sovereign voice infrastructure layer for the enterprise era. Indian VFX talent has powered Hollywood blockbusters from Life of Pi to, well, Marvel. But this time, The story isn't being told in someone else's studio. This time, it's ours. Mahavatar Narsimha, an animated mythological feature film, is quietly setting the stage for India's first real animation renaissance. A 4.5 year marathon, a team of just 100 artists, and a vision to bring Indian mythology to the big screen with the kind of visual ambition we've only seen from Pixar or Veta Digital. This isn't a short film or a VFX showreel. This is a 2 hour, 11-minute feature length film built from the ground up using a lean but powerful stack. Blender for core 3D creation, open source. Houdini for visual effects. Maya for animation. Nuke and DaVinci for compositing and color grading. Every second of the film, which is equal to 24 frames. Each frame took 4 to 10 hours to render. That means 1 second took weeks of processing. And yet, the team did it frame by frame, breath by breath. While India has long powered the back end of global VFX, we've never had our own Jurassic Park moment, a film that proves Indian animation can actually stand shoulder to shoulder with the world. Mahavatar Narsimha is actually that moment. A made in India mythology epic that doesn't just use technology but builds technology pipelines around storytelling. This film also represents a critical inflection point, the moment where handcrafted artistry meets AI assisted filmmaking. With Sora 2, OpenAI, Google VEO 3, Runway, and a growing wave of generative tools, the next iteration of Indian animation may not take 4.5 years. It might just take 18 months. Ashwin Kumar and team have already hinted at using these tools in future productions, not to replace artists, but to amplify them. Globally, studios like Pixar deploy 2 to 3,000 people per film. Ashwin did it with 100. This isn't a fight from the shadows. This is India stepping into the spotlight. Unlike foreign animation ecosystems, this isn't funded by billion-dollar studios or Silicon Valley VCs. This is a homegrown, bootstrapped cinematic universe being built one frame at a time. Animation is more than pixels on screen, it's cultural infrastructure. Mahavatar Narsimha is reclaiming Indian mythology on the big screen without relying on foreign servers, foreign IP, or foreign creative control. It shows that Swadeshi cinema doesn't just have to be ideological, it can be technically world class. For 30 years, India has been waiting for its animation leap. Jurassic Park came out in 1993. We are right now in 2025. And this might just be the spark. When AI tools meet Indian storytelling, the next wave of content might not come from LA or Tokyo. It might just come from Bengaluru, Mumbai, Tamil Nadu, Bengal, Kerala, or from a place which could pleasantly surprise us all. And of course, joining us to shed light in this is the man behind the movement, Ashwin Kumar, director of Mahavatar Narsimha, a multidisciplinary artist with over 25 years in animation, CG, and storytelling. Ashwin has spent half a decade building what many have said was impossible in India, a full-length animated epic made by a small team on a global scale. Ashwin, a big welcome to Front Page. Truly very excited to have you with us on the show. Hi Ashwin, can you hear me?
How are you?
Ashwin, we are doing wonderfully well. It's just that your voice does not sound very clear. I think till we get Ashwin back with us, where his voice is not sounding well animated, let's take a short little break. We'll fix this issue with Ashwin, and we're going to be back with, of course, the man of the moment.
We are AIM Media House. Born in Nama, Bengaluru. Built for the world. We make tech make sense. We tell stories that matter. This is the era of AI, and we are the ones telling its story. Think AI, think AIM.
And I have seen this place grow from strength to strength.
Speakers, the sessions, and the vibe around that.
Love the vibe. Love to see how big it has gotten over the years.
The largest AI conference in India.
Cypher has definitely attained a cult status.
Artificial intelligence.
AI.
Coexisting.
AI.
We are AIM Media House. Born in Nama, Bengaluru. Built for the world. We make tech make sense. We tell stories that matter.
Welcome back to Front Page, and of course, we are all very, very delighted that we have Ashwin back with us. Big welcome on Front Page, Ashwin. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. Tech podcast starting with a tech hiccup is the best way to start.
It is almost poetic, I must say, Ashwin. Of course, this film is done wonderfully well. The film is done wonderfully well. So a big congratulations from all of us
Thank you
here
so much.
at AIM for that, for you and your wife and the entire team.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's always the tech ka kida that I say is really that perseveres and really pounces inside of each one of us to do something new. And I'm glad it worked out, man, because before the 25th of July, I was a madman. And after that, I've been called a genius. So you know how the tech space is.
Yes, truly, completely. You just put everything into context. Okay, so let's deep dive. Indian animation and VFX, Ashwin, have actually long been the backbone of global productions, from Marvel to Life of Pi. But
True.
honestly, rarely have we actually ever seen a homegrown IP achieve this kind of scale. So congratulations again. Mahavatar Narsimha is
Thank you.
changing that narrative with an Indian mythological universe brought to life through cutting edge technology. So the question is, Ashwin, how did this vision begin and what pushed you to take that ambitious path of creating a full length animated feature at this scale?
Very honestly, I looked at it from the very beginning. Both me and Shilpa, we looked at it as a blue ocean for many reasons. Although we know that animation is a big service sector in India, but yet we do not quite have an indigenous animation industry which is self-serving to a big scale. So we kind of looked at it as a very a blue ocean opportunity for us. We just knew that it just had to be done right, and it just had to be presented to the mass, the audience and large, in a way that is palatable to that taste, which is in a more visual scale, etc. So when we gave a perspective to it, there were two parts. Of course, there is the devotee and the devotion and the spirituality and the religious part. And from the tech front, we knew that the kind of space we do not want to kinder to the toddler space. We want to kinder to the more, teenage, 10 years to an 80 year, a 3 generation space. That was the spirit get-go.
Okay, so essentially, that of course sets the context in a big way. But then, of course, the
Yeah.
journey. It was a 4.5 years journey and just a team of 100 artists.
Yeah.
So that must have meant pretty
Yeah.
much, Ashwin, like a war level production pipeline. What kind of emerged
Yeah.
is a film that actually pushes the boundaries of Indian VFX? I mean, that is the first reaction that I had. And also, what were the biggest technical and creative breakthroughs during the making of the film?
So yeah, it was. You're right in that presumption that yes, it was It was an uphill battle, almost without any battle training. This is a guerrilla way of making an animation. That's how I see it. And if
Yeah,
somebody were to ask me that if a film should be made in this way, and I will never suggest, very honestly. But
right.
the point
I
basically
love your
being
honesty.
the
That
point.
means also it must have been a painful process.
Yes, because nobody had done this kind of a outtake before. So
Hmm.
even we had to discover and experiment through our own processes and pipelines. So we were also experimenting, figuring things out, and sedimenting our
Hmm.
processes on the fly. So
Hmm.
that is what is so unique about this film. So and because we had limited budget, so we were very careful in allocating some very specific budget to high key shots and high key
Right.
scenes, and so that we can iterate more on those scenes, because the more we iterate, the better it gets. And somehow or the other, that kind of sets the tone for the entire rest of the film also. So a lot of divine interventions and happy accidents on the way,
Nice.
but we made our way through, and that is why it was a guerrilla way of making things happen. So if somebody were to put a science to this, so there is no science to this. There
Hmm.
is a straight up passion, and there is straight up madness. To the extent that till it doesn't look as good as we want it to be, we keep pushing the boundary and keep pumping in all the resources to those particular scenes at least.
You know what? When you just mentioned the fact that there was a lot of divine intervention, of course, it really helps when you're making a film titled Mahavatar, Narsimha. That, of course, is a good
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
And the fact
It's a poetic
it is
outcome.
It is also the fact that I really want you to probably walk us through this. You've had a lot of experience, Ashwin, more than 25 years in the space. Did you not feel?
Yeah,
I mean, obviously you know the space a lot better than a lot of us out there. But did you not feel that
yeah.
okay, let me take a page out of the playbook of, let's say, the bigger studios, or for that matter, the way animation is worked in the West, a larger team, and all of those things would help? Or was it purely because of the economics of it that actually just translated to the fact that, okay, listen, I've got a limited team and I've got to work in it? Was it a conscious decision, or was
No,
it pushed?
it it was a balance of both, and I'll tell you why.
Hmm.
Is because I knew, because I'd seen so many animated feature films within India, with not a very good outcome, so to say, and they were case studies for me, very
Mhm.
honestly. So it was a very conscious choice, and I was kind of mentally making notes of what's going right for those films and what's not going so right for those films, and why are Disney films in their home ground can touch millions of dollars, yet in
Mhm.
India we do not have a indigenous or homegrown animation film that can do that kind of a wonder. So I think what my analysis was, it kind of worked out because we had to change the lens or the perspective, neither from we were making the film, but we had to entirely change the prism with which the film was made and who it was made for. So
Mhm.
that was a very conscious choice. So that was a very conscious choice, what you're basically saying. But it kind of paid off in the end, so I'm happy. I'm glad. Had it gone south, I don't think we would be having this podcast.
No, we would be still, because it's a brilliant, brilliant attempt, and I have to say this, that the passion definitely shows, and it shows brilliantly. Of course, now I'd like to maybe just talk a little bit about the technical aspects a little deeper, maybe, Ashwin, if you were to allow me.
Huh.
So basically, from Blender
Yeah,
as the core tool to Maya,
yeah,
Houdini, Nuke, and DaVinci, the film embodies the
yeah.
shift towards democratized production tools. So, how did the tech
I'm a big fan.
stack actually? How did the tech stack
I'm a big fan of
evolve
it. Like,
over the years? Wow, that's nice to know.
so,
And also,
so I
I just
blending.
like to add
Sorry.
this. Sorry, go ahead, please. Yeah.
Yeah. So this kind of blends into your previous question. I knew we could
Hmm.
not emulate the Western pipeline. I knew we could not emulate, because that problem has been that we've been trying to superimpose what has been going on in the West economically and in terms of function of filmmaking onto the Eastern ground, which is basically us. It sometimes may work, but sometimes it does not work. So hence a new perspective was required. And I'm a big fan, like I said, of a very democratized way of working, such as Blender, DaVinci, and a lot of other
There
tools,
seems to be
Unreal, and all.
a
I'm
network
very
issue.
happy because gone are the
As far
days, I
as
feel, where
Ashwin
the
is
artist has
concerned.
to really hanker about tools,
So,
and
till we actually
the
bring him
the
back,
skill set of the tools
it
is
is actually
honored.
quite fascinating in terms of the fact that what Ashwin has been
Sorry,
talking about. And I believe that is a question which has genuinely been at the front of all our minds, that why is it that cinema is
I
working in terms of
am I
the
audible?
animation space in the West, in Hollywood, and everywhere. And the fact that today probably the conversation has just
You
started, it's just we're just warming up. So of course we are always
going again?
we are going to get deeper and deeper into it. But the fact is this, I think he's getting into that zone. We're trying to understand it, and we will continue the conversation. I just want to request all of you guys who are watching, it would be nice to maybe send in your comments and your questions, as we are going to bring Ashwin back with us into the conversation. You have some time to speculate what you want to get into, what you want to talk about, till we have a break. And we are going to be back on Front Page.
We are AIM Media House. Born in Nama, Bengaluru. Built for the world. We make tech make sense. We tell stories that matter. This is the era of AI, and we are the ones telling its story. Think AI, think AIM.
And I have seen this place grow from strength to strength.
Speakers, the sessions, and the vibe around that.
Love the vibe. Love to see how big it has gotten over the years.
The largest AI conference in India.
Cypher has definitely attained a cult status.
Artificial intelligence. AI. Coexisting.
AI.
We are AIM Media House. Born in Nama, Bengaluru. Built for the world. We make tech make sense. We tell stories that matter. This is the era of AI, and we are the ones telling its story. Think AI, think AIM.
And I have seen this place grow from strength to strength.
Speakers, the sessions, and the vibe around that.
Love the vibe. Love to see how big it has gotten over the years.
The largest AI conference in India.
Cypher has definitely attained a cult status.
Artificial intelligence. AI. Coexisting.
AI.
We are AIM Media House. Born in Nama, Bengaluru. Built for the world. We make tech make sense. We tell stories that matter.
Welcome back to Front Page. And well, finally, we have resolved the tech issues. Ashwin and I are back on track. Ashwin, this time it was us that went through a tech issue. The last time it was you. So, right now, I just wanted to tell you the score is 1-1. And we hope that it stays that way.
All right. I'm
Okay.
game on this. Please tell me.
Wonderful. All right. So I like I'd mentioned before the break, Ashwin. I wanted to actually get a little deeper into the tech stack. So I'll do that for the benefit of the audience again. From Blender as the core tool to Maya, Houdini, Nuke, and DaVinci, the film embodies the shift towards democratized production tools. And actually, that is where you were telling me where that kind of linked up to what I was talking to you about in terms of the number of people, the team, etc. So over to you.
Yes, so I'm like I said, I'm a big fan of democratized tool sets and this new age of it's basically a renaissance. I feel that is really coming in for the creative artists because gone are the days where the tools, because the tools weren't so easily accessible to the artists and they were very expensive,
Sure.
and you had these very hyper specialists who would know the tools per se. I think those days are a thing of the past very soon. So my assessment was that from the past 8 to 10 years, was ever since I understood about Blender and Unreal, and I could kind of foresee that is where things are going, and hence Blender kind of became one of the most key softwares for us. Where although we had let's say Maya, we had other softwares, but everything would actually compound and accumulate into a free tool such as Blender, which has been more than proficient for us, and very we have wonderful artists who have really loved that software. And that kind of brings me to this question that you have like thousands of people working on these pipelines, and that kind of emulation of the West is something that I did not want, which I kind of, that's the new lens with which we made it. So we were a team of like 100 warriors,
Yes.
kind of make breakthrough and breaking those shattering those pipelines, because we are working our way. It's like the nascent stages of ILM, or if you look at the nascent stages of Weta, or these kind of old school studios. That's how they actually came into being. They were all directors studio, and from ground up they build their own pipelines, their own tools, and they set the tone for the industry in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. I think it's the same thing that's going to get rewritten, but for the Indian diaspora now.
That's beautiful, because I mean, you talked about boutique, you talked about that, but given the fact that there is such a surge, Ashwin, in terms of AI, the mind, well, has to go there. I want to understand this. What role do you feel, can AI assisted workflows play in cutting down render cycles? The immediate thought, an example or sample or thought that comes to mind is your film 4.5 years to, let's say, maybe 1.5 years.
Even lesser, I feel, because with the kind of AI tool sets, with you have so many custom comfy UIs and LoRa's and custom trained models out there. If one can really learn to harness these things and make a new workflow, not somebody really who has an expertise on the old workflow, but is ready to break the dimension and the old school box and to rethink in new patterns and in new ways, is definitely going to be a new age winner when it comes to the workflows and pipelines of building new age media. And I've been saying this to a lot of people, that do not be surprised that you have like a 5-6 people working in their bunkers, and they give a massive 1,000 crore hit using AI tools. And I want to be one of them now. So
Well, you're definitely warmed up for sure, I must say.
So so I'm very pro AI when it comes to these things. But in a more honorable and a more legit way, so that
Expand
because
on that,
of course
please,
I'm not
Ashwin. When you say honorable and more legitimate way, what do you mean by that? Because
custom.
one thought that
What I
immediately
mean,
comes to my mind is, well, is it going to replace or is it going to glorify?
glorify for sure. Replace if the artists are not amiable and not adaptable to this new tech, then definitely is going to replace the artist. But I think
Mhm.
if the creative individual really takes the impetus of their creativity and own it using AI, they will
Mm,
produce the creativity faster, which basically means you have new content coming for the masses faster. That means there's
mhm.
more consumption, which means there's more demand, and hence so on and so forth. So it really churns the economic cycle to become much faster. Yes,
Okay.
we will have some more lame content coming in,
Mm.
as always is the case, but
Yeah.
ultimately the quality will rule. There's a law of demand and supply that takes place and balances everything out.
Okay, since you talked about the fact that there will be some junk which will also come our way, but also it might open up a new vista altogether. This brings me to
Yeah.
this thought, Ashwin, which is the rise of tools like, let's say, Sora 2, OpenAI, and Google VEO3 is changing how filmmakers imagine and create. So, this film sits at that intersection of handcrafted art and emerging AI. My question to you is, how do you see tools like, let's say, a Sora 2, VEO3, Runway, and other AI models
Hmm.
reshaping storytelling, animation, and VFX pipelines? Do you believe the next generation of Indian creators can leapfrog Hollywood with these tools?
Uh, yes, most definitely. But there'll be phases to this. In the first phase, I think where
Mm,
we stand as of today, where it's more about prompting and generating things out. Even though we have such great AI models, still there is physics issues, consistency issues. We still ramp them up. But what
mm,
is really going to really help them at this phase one, if you is gathering audience, right? You can or testing or prototyping or doing your A/B testings or your story tests. You can actually, I think, formulate your entire story using these tools and actually have a keen sense whether it's going where you really wish your story to be before
mhm,
spending millions of dollars or crores of rupees in actually making the film.
mm,
And even and if you're a small size medium size creator, you can create your small IPs and build an audience around it using social media tools or YouTube, etc., and then gather funds to, once you have enough audience, to pump in a bigger content for the same IP.
sure.
So this is where it's going to help now. But as the tech is growing and is growing by the day, as you know it, you guys
Mm,
are dwelling in that. I
mm,
think it will definitely uh, reduce the VFX cost and animation costs drastically. That's
mm,
for sure. It's going to
mm,
make it more economical for
mm,
even for new age artists. There will be a lot of creators who would do it themselves, and there will be a lot of directors who will be like outsourcing it, and it'll be done at a fraction of a cost, at a much at much faster timelines. So that basically, all in all, is a good story for any creative storytelling. But then again, you will have because like say what happened with VFX and animation, it's overuse, especially
mm,
when you see it in Hollywood. That kind of kills the storytelling. That's
yeah.
exactly where AI will also go. That's for sure. And you will have mediocre content and less than mediocre content. But then in those mediocre content, you will have one or two gold and then a few gems that will shine.
Fair enough. That's a fairly balanced view. Before I actually get into the Indian animation renaissance aspect, Ashwin, I wanted to ask you this. When I saw Narsimha, when I personally, I'm talking about myself, I genuinely was very impressed with the quality of it. You know, with the sharpness of it. It was almost as good as, probably, I don't know, better than a Pixar movie, for example. Uh,
Wow.
but did you feel, and this is the thought that I had in my head, that 4.5 years is what it took you? Uh, Tech has evolved like there is no tomorrow, like it's going out of fashion, and it's evolving almost on a weekly, bi-weekly scenario. You just mentioned testing the audience, or generally testing the waters. 4.5 years is a long period of time. What
Yeah.
were probably the fears or the insecurities, Ashwin, that you might have been going through as a filmmaker, and the fact
Yeah.
that you're dealing with an audience which has an exposure to animated to that kind of cinema which is coming in on a regular basis from Hollywood studios. How did that kind of make you feel? Where were you standing with that?
A lot of anxiety, bro. So that's it, it's not a easy step to be
Hmm.
putting all eggs in one basket, and or, going all in, as to say, and then shoot for the
Sure.
moon. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then wait for the divine intervention, and the divine intervention happens. So it's a hell of a story. That's for sure.
I'd love
So
for
but
you
it's
to actually share a little bit with us, though.
See, even from the production point of view, when there's always a economic side of things. You're looking at
Sure.
salaries, you're looking at people, you're looking at expectations, you're looking at trying to achieve that's never been achieved before. So all these things can really weary you down,
Yeah.
and wear, and that kind of did happen to us so many times. But we were very fortunate to have our anchor instilled our Shri Shri Lakshmi Narasimha Prahlad Maharaj, and the divine,
Beautiful.
and that really kind of carries you through, because um, um, there's nothing else to say on that front, because there's no science, like I said, about it. It's all about faith and devotion. That's what we were dealing with. But
Beautiful.
it does wear you down, and that's why I do not recommend this path for anyone. But
Hmm.
yes, 4.5 years, that's where these AI tools are really going to help us, or these new age tools. Even you have Unreal Engine with the new tech that these guys keep coming up with, that
Hmm.
is really going to fasten the process to such a degree where, uh, with just from a script point of view, you can directly go into seeing actually what you want to create, and then really know what you're doing. And you don't have to wait 4.5 years. Maybe within a year, even a year could be a long haul, for that
Wow.
matter.
Wow.
That's where it is right now. And even with our next film, Mahavatar Parshuram, we are bringing in a lot of new tech, not a lot of new workflows, a lot of new pipelines, because we know that we need to dish A level stuff out very quickly. So the tech is there. The only reason why one will not do it is either they are lazy or they're afraid, basically.
Spoken like a true director, I must say. Uh, that, of course, brings me to this, Ashwin, which is what I'd mentioned, the Renaissance. So, despite, let's say, India's massive contribution to global VFX, we all embrace that fact. Why is it, do you feel, that we still haven't had that Jurassic Park moment, for example? Do you feel that this film may be that spark? And why has India not seen a large scale animation revolution yet? What does it take to build confidence among producers and artists to start backing homegrown animations and IPs, something as wonderful as this?
So I'm really happy that with the coming of Mahavatar Narsimha, at least those the floodgates have opened. That the producers have confidence, at least in the animation industry of our telling, because now at least they can see that there is a lot of money to be made if they honor the medium. But it's a double-edged sword, because the
Hmm.
other side of the tail is that animation is a time-taking process. It's a
Yeah,
slow burner,
yeah.
because it kind of takes time into what you're building. Because a cake that takes 6 hours in the making will take 6 hours in the making. If
Hmm.
you want to do it in 2 hours, 3 hours, it's not going to taste as good.
Yeah.
And that's what animation truly is. So the patience of the investors and the producers is key, and the
Hmm.
artist to be able to really push the boundaries, and push the threshold of imagination. That is the onus lies on the artists and the directors also. So we really need directors who know animation as a medium, not just filmmaking, because
Sure.
animation has its own nuance. So all these things putting together, then I say we are moving towards a renaissance. Yes, Mahavatar Narsimha has shown the way that it can be
Nice.
done, but it's just only set precedents once, and but we need to keep bringing out, IPs bigger and better than Mahavatar Narsimha. and such that it becomes a hub in its own right, and animation becomes one of the most loved and sought after mediums like it is there elsewhere in the world.
Figures are very important for everyone to understand the context of what just Ashwin said. The film, including its marketing, the total budget is 40 crores. The film has crossed 300 plus crores at the box office. I'm talking about theatrical releases globally. And of course, as we already know, it is roaring and how on Netflix. These were the three things, Ashwin, that I wanted to apprise the audience of in terms of what that spark actually means. I would love for you to go ahead and add on to that context that I just started with.
So yeah, the figures that we hit are almost to the tune of 350 cr globally, and it's really amazing to see those kind of figures. And we were trending number one Netflix within the first 12 hours. We were on Netflix, and we're still in top five. So that means the demand is there. The people, the diaspora, is really consuming this kind of content. That's what it really means, because if you look at the Indian VFX animation AVCG community and the kind of money that's being pumped in, most of it is towards the service sector, and that's what I'm trying to say. Diaspora is now ready for consumption because you have so many anime lovers, you have so much Marvel, DC kind of content being
Yeah,
consumed here in India,
yeah,
that it's just basically a no-brainer to that somebody is going to come out and really laugh the way all the way to the bank, not just with a 350 crore revenue, but even maybe 10,000 crore franchise in the coming few years. So
nice.
that is possible. It just needs to be done that way.
Do you feel that the ecosystem is are we ready, Ashwin? Very straight, blunt question. Do you feel that this film was the Pixar moment? I believe it was, with the sheer quality and with the
It
effort.
had my submission on that is that it had the spark of it's just shown a spark, but we are not completely ready as an industry yet,
Why do
because
you say that?
I say that because the habit of emulation in our country is very common, where everybody just emulates the success model, and then there's a lot of failure, and then things have a difficult things can die down, or then suddenly surge depending on the circumstance. So that is where the and also we are at a very important moment in time, because we are at a cusp of AI and animation, and India never has its own animation renaissance yet, and now we suddenly are into a new phase, and nobody in the world actually knows how to harness it yet. So
Nice.
that kind of is also an advantage for us, I feel, because what we could not do with the VFX and animation in the past 20-25 years, maybe using AI and animation, we could have our own Jurassic Park moment and a Pixar moment. So the ground is ready. I can
Sure.
say that, but to really say that the players are ready, we don't know.
A big player is ready and was ready, embraced what you did, Ashwin. Netflix, how did they react to the content? The fact that you said that, well, it went to number one. And are they open for such content? And does that kind of give it the perfect fertile ground now that such a huge international player is saying, all right, wait a minute, Ashwin, I embrace what you have made.
Yes, yes. What Netflix has basically done is basically honed this content and given it to the public at large.
It seems to be a slight network problem again. I think We've had a slight patchy network issue again at Ashwin's end.
Okay,
Ashwin,
can
are
you
you
hear me
there?
now?
Yeah, much better. Thank you
Yeah,
for being back.
yeah, yeah.
By the way, the score is 2-1 now.
Yeah, so yeah, okay. So Netflix, yeah. So we're very honored with the way Netflix has carried this product and taken it to the world at large, and has been consumed everywhere, and we are still ranked within top three, top four since the time the film is on Netflix. And uh, the numbers, we don't have the numbers yet because
Hmm.
generally we get it in by the 48 to 50-day kind of a period. So we are awaiting numbers, but since it's been trending number one, two, three, and four, so I'm guessing we're going to see something bright. But the point is the longevity of the content. That's what makes it
Yes,
nice to see. It's not just like a one-time consumer content. It's something that people
true.
love and keep watching again and again, and that's when you know something is special.
Which is what is so important, Ashwin, and also taps into perfectly what I was going to talk to you about, which is the human and cultural layer. It has to resonate at that level because animation,
Yes.
according to me, allows for creative purity, and for stories like Mahavatar Narsimha, it gives mythological narratives and immersive, larger than life treatment. So I want to ask you this: how do you balance reverence for mythology with artistic freedom? And what does this film mean for India's cultural storytelling ecosystem? Also, a small one. Do you feel that now that the spark is there, the ground is ready, we are also in a place where we can start to maybe spread our wings to other areas and facets of storytelling, which is slightly far removed from mythology? Uh, Ashwin, are you there? Yeah, okay. Ashwin, I hope you got what I was saying.
Hello.
Yes, ha. Now you're there. I lost
Yeah.
you again.
With films,
Yeah.
with films like Kantara and Mahavatar Narsimha, I think it has opened or broken the mold or given a new genre that
Hmm.
things around Puranic tales and culture and heritage can really take things up. And one thing is left to see is basically the gaming world. And think once we
Nice.
are in the gaming sector also, it'll really boom. That I think that is one sector that's really is on the cards next. That's really going to blast one day.
Fabulous. All right. Which, of course, brings me very close to our conversation, the end of our conversation. I want to ask you this: what is the future looking like in terms of storytelling for both with the boon of VFX and AI? Storytelling as AI accelerates the production cycle, Ashwin. Will it shift from big budget, which equals big story, to big vision equals big impact, like we saw in Narsimha? How do you see the next 5 years for Indian animation and AI filmmaking?
A very deep question. I
I
think everything
researched.
everything's going to blossom together. It's not going to be one or the other. It's going to be one and the other, because without good story and good narrative, the visuals don't shine, and without good visuals, the story can be very underwhelming. So they are partake of a harmonic, a harmony when it comes to the consumption and experience. So, but given the AI tools and given the animation, the kind of democratization and open source animation and AI tools, it's going to be much easier to produce these large scale visual spectacles such as Mahavatar Narsimha and maybe a few others that are which are also going to be agnostic of the culture and heritage, because you can adapt using lip sync and whatnot. You have
Yep.
such great technology that's coming in, that's really going to make the content the user's own personal experience throughout the hinterland, rather than making it a very a very cosmetic experience.
Okay, I just wanted to ask you my final thought, which is this, Ashwin, and I would, of course, request you for a message post that because I can't let you go. You have to speak to your wonderful audience, which has responded with so much love and celebration as far as Narsimha is concerned. Here's the question first. Question is, I have sensed, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but every time there is a new AI tech development or there is any tool that comes in, I have felt that the industry down south is a front runner in terms of adapting to that technology, using it, embracing it, vis-a-vis across the country. Do you feel that that is the case? Because this is my personal view.
Yes, I kind of do believe that they're more experimental, so to say, and they're more. I think that's got to do with the corporatization of, let's suppose, more of the B town Bollywood. I've seen more of the corporates running, and down south I have seen more of these entrepreneurial single decision makers running the show. That's probably got to do with that, because they can take more risks faster. Uh, uh, b- and the corporate setup looks at more of these, precedences and past, how do we say, trends on
Yeah.
which they base their future decisions. So I think it's basically intuition versus logic. That is the kind of field that has been set up. That's why we see this kind of a disparity of decisions. But to each of their own, they can both work. It's just the matter of time when things flip, because there's no right or wrong when it comes to making these decisions. But yes, to say that South has been more experimental, that's kind of correct. I do understand both with the stories and with the tech.
Beautifully put. It's instinct versus logic. Your final question, and sorry, your final message that you would like to give, Ashwin. And of course, you can ask a question as well if you want. There's no problem with that.
So my final advice and my final message is, go out, create बिल्कुल बिना डर के, बिंदास, fearlessly. Be a
Nice.
fearless creator. Don't wait, look for permissions. Just go and do it. If you think you can do it and you want to do it, just do it. If you keep waiting, somebody else is going to do it. So you will miss out on the chance.
Because I would just like to add a little to what Ashwin said. With your future projects, with such a huge success of Narsimha, it would be nice for you to give a slight teaser to everyone and what should they be looking forward to? What are the future projects? You've mentioned one. What are the others? Because we are very, very curious and, of course, very excited in terms of what is coming out of that wonderful little boutique studio and mind of Ashwin.
So Mahavatar Parshuram is the next in line, after which, after every 2 years, we'll have a Mahavatar Raghunandan. Post that, we'll have a Mahavatar Gokulananda, then Mahavatar Dwarkadhish. These are films on Sri Krishna. So one on Sri Ramchandra, and two on Sri Krishna, and two on Sri Kalki. That's the lineup for the Mahavatar universe. Apart from that, we're going to have comic and gaming in the Mahavatar universe. And then we'll
Nice.
have two live action feature films that we are aiming at.
Beautiful. Onwards and upwards, Ashwin, to you and
Thank
the
you.
entire team. We're definitely so excited, and we only can wish you all the positive energy and all of the luck. And of course, you already have divine intervention on your side.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. May the divine energy keep blessing you. May Narsimha Bhagwan keep protecting you.
Thank you so much. Very, very kind of you. Thank you so much, Ashwin. Well, uh, that was, of course, Ashwin. Thank you again for being with us on the show. And of course, this is what we have to say after that very invigorating conversation. Mahavatar Narsimha isn't just a film, it's proof of concept that India can build world class animated IP, that open source technology can power blockbusters, that mythology and AI can shape a new cultural economy. And finally, to take a little page out of what Ashwin said, the madness, the passion, if it is driving you, it is definitely going to ensure that you're going to do something magical. Well, last week on Front Page, we told you about a Bengaluru based startup that's quietly rewriting the speed limits of voice AI. And today, the story comes full circle. We have the founder of Smallest.ai joining us right here for the very first time on Front Page to talk about how they're building India's own voice infrastructure layer and why latency may just be the most powerful moat in AI. Bengaluru based Smallest.ai has raised $8 million in seed funding, led by Sierra Ventures, with participation from 314 Capital, Better Capital, and Upsparks Capital, Shema Ventures, and Tiny VC. Founded by Sudarshan Kamath and Akshat Mandloy, two engineers obsessed with speed and efficiency, Smallest.ai is taking a radically different approach to voice AI, ultra low latency, GPU light, and privacy first. This isn't about building cool demos, it's about production scale enterprise deployments where milliseconds matter. Compliance is non negotiable, and speed decides who wins. Their lightning TTS stack can generate 10 seconds of audio in under 100 milliseconds. That's faster than the average human response time to a conversation. Their Electron V2 model hits a TTFT of 53 milliseconds. That's world class speed, and it's built right here in India. And joining us on Front Page tonight is, well, Sudarshan Kamath, founder of Smallest.ai. Sudarshan holds a BTech in Mechanical Engineering from IIT Guwahati and brings nearly a decade of experience building deep tech solutions in AI. He's passionate about the 0 to 1 journey, taking ambitious ideas and turning them into infrastructure level products. Under his leadership, Smallest.ai has developed Lightning, one of the world's fastest, highest quality text to speech models. And what makes this story even more powerful is its context. Well, in a world dominated by big cloud players, Smallest.ai is building a lightweight, edge optimized, sovereign voice AI stack for India and the world. Sudarshan, if you're all set, I'm so happy to welcome you to Front Page. Great to have you with us.
Thank you so much, guys. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. All right. So, right off the bat, Sudarshan, first of all, big congratulations on the fact that, yes, the raise has happened and that milestone is now done and dusted.
Yeah, it's been obviously a lot of hard work, but this capital is obviously something we are very grateful for, and we are excited to go back to building.
Nice. I like the fact that you've used the term grateful, because I think finally that is what makes sure that the journey is beautiful ahead. So basically, the $8 million seed round is done. What drove such strong investor confidence is the first thing that I would like for you to maybe shed light on.
I think what worked for us is that we have a very strong, deep technical background and a genuine curiosity and interest to solve a very hard problem. And the problem statement is such that if we solve it, the market is extremely large. We are talking about unlocking voice interactions at like a population scale for billions of humans multiple times in a single day, right? So this is essentially going to change how humans and AI communicate with each other. And because of sort of our background and the large potential of this problem, I think we were able to raise the capital successfully.
So one of the things maybe that you can still recall, Sudarshan, which in terms of the pitch that you gave as far as the investors is concerned, probably that one thing that you recall definitely made sure that they were sold on it.
I think it was to talk about that voice is the primary mode of communication between humans, and why isn't that the case with AI? Why do we still text to AI, whereas we like we are having this interview in voice, right?
Sure.
Why are we not texting with each other? And
Right.
so
That'll
that
be a little awkward
correlation,
as well. Yeah.
that will be very awkward, right? So
Yeah.
that correlation, I think, really hits, and you are trying to build like that next level of AI, which we just want to talk to,
Sure.
and that I think helped us nail the round.
Nice. So basically, moving forward, what does this actually now say about the maturity of the voice AI opportunity in India and, of course, globally? You just mentioned we're talking about population level.
I think we are just at the beginning. While you must have seen a lot of demos, voice is, just getting started, and it's nowhere close to, what humans can do today when communicating with each other. But that's the opportunity, right? Like that's where we
Hmm.
are investing in.
Hmm.
So all of our research team is dedicated towards building like a solution where it can match human potential and ultimately, act very naturally when speaking to another humans, passing the
Hmm.
so-called Turing test.
Hmm.
And I think maturity-wise, we are early. The potential is really high, and at every step, we are going to see a major unlock in market size.
Of course, before I get into that aspect of frontier innovation, Sudarshan, I wanted to ask you this. Usually, the race, once it's done, that's just a small milestone. The real journey actually begins from there on. So, what's the team feeling like now? That, I mean, of course, the money's in the bank. The questions probably have started. Probably the journey is only about to start and begin. How is that level of emotion, and what is it that everyone is going through?
I think if you think about capital, right, capital just gives us the right to sort of work and
Hmm.
expand, but the ability to work was always there. So the team is just more validated and more excited than ever before, and they already had plans. We have like a decade long plan of what we want to build, and so
Hmm.
we are just going to continue building this, and this is just like a small milestone, which obviously is very exciting to us. But at the same time, we don't want to be distracted because capital is not the answer to
Yep.
solving, scientific problems. And we are still completely dedicated and focused. We know we still have to prove ourselves. We know we are going up against the giants, and so we are just hungry and we want to stay focused, put our heads down, and execute.
Definitely not the answer, but for sure a catalyst, Sudarshan, for solving scientific problems. And I'm very happy that you have that catalyst with you now. So, raising for frontier innovation, you've spoken about pushing voice agents to pass the Turing test. You just mentioned it in the coming years. So, what's the core technological leap Smallest.ai is betting on?
I think the fact is when text is generated today by LLMs, it's actually
Mm-hmm.
building like an understanding of the world around it, and the world around it is the world of the internet where everything was in
Hmm.
text, right? Now imagine a world around it being modeled around voice. So
Right.
this is not in computers yet. This is the real world, and so we are actually creating like a world model for speech, and this is naturally predicting and understanding and creating a hemisphere which basically understands speech and outputs speech. And this has not been done before because the internet does not contain as much speech data as text. And so I feel like we are just at the beginning of even understanding speech and the world model of speech. And uh, that clubbed with the fact that the LLMs themselves are going to get more efficient, and you're not going to need like a 100 billion budget to train a
Hmm.
smart model, is
Hmm.
I think going to be the next leap in speech models and intelligence.
Fascinating, Sudarshan. The fact that, well, you're at the point of building, at the threshold of building a whole new world. Anything that you envisage? I mean, obviously, there would be a lot of things that would have been going through your and your team's mind, but probably some of the challenges that you feel could crop up, because this is obviously going to be absolutely novel what you're attempting and going to achieve.
I think there are challenges at every level, and we are tackling them, head on. If you talk about the infrastructure level, the hardware, even the best of GPUs today from NVIDIA are not good enough for inference and inference at scale and speed. So that's why the cost of speech tokens is much, much higher than the cost of text tokens, 100x, 1000x higher. And for voice AI to be adopted at like a population scale, you should not even be thinking about cost, and you should just be able to consume it just like any other commodity every single day, multiple times a day. If you talk about at a model architecture level, there have been so many diverging opinions about how this architecture should look like. So that is a challenge. And then if you talk about the data level, a lot of this data doesn't exist in an annotated format. The way this is annotated is not standardized. And so, that is a scientific problem to solve. So there are challenges at every level, and we are tackling them head on.
Wonderful. That's great to hear the positive energy. So that, of course, brings me to this, which is the research first approach. Unlike most startups, you're building a research first organization. So how do you balance ambitious research and development with rapid product velocity, Sudarshan?
I think this is a culture, this is a mindset. I generally pick markets where the problems are very tough to solve. But if you solve it, the market size is so large that it's going to give you multiples and multiples of money that you have invested. And so the risk that you're taking by sort of investing in research is very well justified. And today, if you see, this is the best time to do something like this. You can see companies like Figure AI, or you can see Thinking Labs Machines by Meera Murati. None of these have revenue. They are valued at billions of dollars, right? So that's because of the future potential of the research that they can produce is gonna completely change how economies operate. And so that's what we are betting.
Wonderful. And it's so niche. Is that also been probably one of the building blocks behind this thought, Sudarshan? That it's so niche. Nobody also wants to probably attempt it. Maybe that's why you're taking up that challenge in a big way.
I think voice AI is definitely a much nicher segment compared to the general world of LLMs and agents and everything that is being built there. So I think having that sort of lesser amount of people going after that problem statement does help. But at the same time, that is what makes it more challenging as well, because the infrastructure, as you see, we have to fundamentally solve problems at every single level on our own. Versus, let's say you go and find a text annotation agency today, you will find hundreds of them, right? So we also have to solve tougher problems because it is a niche. But yes, that is what makes the potential exciting as well.
Far more exciting. Fair enough. The market fit aspect and the edge in an increasingly crowded AI landscape, what makes Smallest.ai's approach very unique?
I think, firstly, we were always taking a contrarian approach to the market, right? We were never for the large models, and we never felt like just because we did not have $1 billion, we cannot train models. We come from a background in autonomous vehicles where we have built models that are a gigabyte or two in size that operate really well. And we know how powerful small models can also be. And there is a lot of architectural innovation that as well that will be coming up. Jan LeCun talks about it. There are other researchers who talk about it. So I think while AI is crowded and sort of, so many companies that are building, everyone is kind of hinging on the same idea that LLMs are going to be successful and then building on top of it. And for us, I think it's always been small is better, and we can also build with small models, and we have always taken that approach. And we continue to operate at a very deep level where we solve tough problems first, right, instead of running away from it. So that, I think, is going to be our strength going forward as well.
Definitely sounds like a wonderful arrow to have in your armory. Where do you see the strongest early enterprise adoption, Sudarshan?
I think for us, the earliest markets have been in banking and finance, and generally use cases that are very low hanging, where there were no humans that were there
Right.
to do these use cases. For example, it could be simple things like after office hour front desk calls, or it could
Hmm.
be uh, analyzing using speech to text to analyze call centers, or it could be collections calls. So
Hmm.
we operate across any sort of inbound and outbound call in banking, financial domain, across US and India. Are the primary markets, and Latin America is also an exciting market that is opening up.
Right.
But low hanging fruits here are where we see early adoption, and then as we go more enterprise, there are much more complex use cases like customer support, etc., where we work with very large customers to make it successful.
With this raise, what is the plan in terms of the fact that okay, these are low-hanging fruits as you've mentioned, but phase-wise, what's the plan looking like, Sudarshan? In terms of what are the other markets that you would probably like to tap, and what are the ones which are on the horizon?
I think right now, this raise, most of the money that we have raised will go into research and
Hmm.
developing the next frontier of model. In terms of the market itself, this market and the existing customers that we have are enough to take us to like the next level of Series A or beyond. And
Nice.
obviously, we can also not raise and maybe continue to grow profitably depending on how it
Hmm.
goes.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
we have ambitious research ideas, and so you never know. But this
Fair.
raise is gonna, I would say, 50 to 60% just dedicated towards research, and the
Sure.
remaining would be to service existing customers and to mature our sort of go to market motion, formalize it a little bit, going from founder led sales to like a process. That is what we
Nice.
will be focusing on.
Fair enough. Clearly gives that you have enough runway, and the fact that there is, of course, enough opportunity right now for you to definitely expand as far as research and the opportunities are concerned. Voice AI and India opportunity. India has become a very major hub for AI innovation, Sudarshan. What makes this the right moment to build deep voice intelligence from India for the world?
I think one of the strengths that we have is that we have a huge, talented community of engineers and young. Most of our demographics are young, and so when we go into training AI models, a lot of this talent today is getting attracted towards getting skilled in AI, and so we can use them to build these frontier models. And building AI is not going to be like one person getting a magical idea one random day and suddenly turns the whole industry
Sure.
around. It's going to be a dedicated effort across like organizations to make this shift possible. And so I think India has that potential. We definitely have the mindset and talent for it. I think what we need to do is we need to start focusing on a little more ambitious ideas which can change the
Sure.
world. And I think the languages and the diversity we have in our own country also serve
Hmm.
as like a niche market we ourselves can go after, and that itself is a potential startup opportunity. So creating voice agents for low resource languages, and
Hmm.
sort of creating the fundamentals of the infrastructure for the English and the major languages of the world, we can contribute
Sure.
in both ways. I think it's just going to require us to think from first principles and just sort of
Hmm.
aim really high in terms of the projects we pick.
Of course, you mentioned the fact that talent is at the heart of this all. You've also mentioned that there is going to be a lot of deployment of this particular raise into research and development, which logically brings me to this thought, Sudarshan. What are you looking at in terms of probably, let's say, hiring opportunities? And probably the viewers listening in right now would probably be interested to understand if they can be a part of this endeavor with Smallest.ai.
I think we always look for exceptional talent. For
Mm-hmm.
us, it is extremely important that we have the best people in the world working for us, no matter where you come from. Our best research scientists have never gone to college, so it doesn't matter which college or what degree
Very
you've done
interesting.
or where you've worked.
Hmm.
But I want to make it very clear, it doesn't mean that if you're not done anything we are hiring you. You have to be exceptional. You have
Right.
to be someone who
What's
has,
a
you
barometer?
know I look for strong proof of work. I look for people who
Okay.
have gone above and beyond and done things which I would not expect them to do with the resources they have. And
Oh wow.
just
Okay.
the profiles that come across that are outliers are incredibly motivating. And these are people who are building silently without the noise, just know their stuff really well, and are super dedicated to learn about something new, and just always curious, right? So the best minds can come from anywhere.
Sure.
And yeah, we are looking for smart speech researchers and AI researchers to join the team.
Wonderful. I'm sure a lot of people are definitely going to hang on to every word that you said, which of course will make their future aspirational and obviously help Smallest AI's future become aspirational, which of course brings me to this. Let's fast forward, let's say 3 to 5 years. What's your big vision for Smallest.ai, Sudarshan?
I would want us to definitely go deeper across a lot of enterprise software and general software interfaces. I feel today we are barely touching the surface of what voice can act as an
Mm-hmm.
interface with AI.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine every single thing from your calendar to your mail to your enterprise HR software being run on voice, and also not just you speaking to it but it proactively speaking to you saying, hey, you have not filed your taxes, can I do it for you? It sends you a WhatsApp message,
Sure.
things like that. It gives you a call saying, why are you not doing it? I reminded you 3 times, right? So
Right.
it has a personality. I
Nice.
would want voice to be a much more proactive interface across all software interfaces, and I think Smallest AI will be the infrastructure layer for that.
Genuinely sounds fascinating. Of course, since you said that the voice needs to have a character, hopefully not a disciplinarian, I'm hoping, Sudarshan.
Let's see where it goes.
Okay, fair enough. What kind of an impact do you want to create actually in enterprise workflows globally?
I think simplification would be the biggest goal.
Sure,
That as
nice.
enterprises become larger, everything gets more complex. But with voice, it's just a one-directional interface, and what happens in
Hmm.
the backend stays in the backend, right? With voice and
Right.
generative AI, simplification is the goal. I hope I can simplify hundreds of enterprise workflows across multiple verticals and industries.
That's a wonderful aspiration to have, Sudarshan. Final messages, final thoughts moving forward.
Aim high. Think about ambitious ideas that can change the world. We are obviously doing our small part, and we are excited. We are going after a very challenging problem. We obviously hope to succeed, but it's not going to be easy. So we have to stay focused, keep our heads down. Capital is not success. We need to prove
Sure.
ourselves, and yeah, wish us luck.
All the best to you and of course your entire team, and of course all of the new people who should be hopefully joining in, the outliers, the honed in skills, the people who believe in learning, and of course leaving a big mark on the world. This is of course just the beginning, Sudarshan, and we are hoping that you are going to be able to achieve all that and a lot more. And since you said think and aim high, we are going to say this in return to that. Think AI, think Smallest.ai, think you have got to complete that. Think AIM.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. But yeah, thank you so much for having me.
True pleasure. Thank you so much, Sudarshan. Well, that was, of course, Sudarshan. Wishing him all of the luck. And, of course, everyone watching, as he has mentioned already, that he looks for people and he doesn't really care for degrees or colleges. He actually looks for that ability to be an outlier, to be dedicated, to find something which everyone is well seeking and is missing out in plain sight. And this is what we finally, of course, have to say about this entire conversation. What we've heard today is actually more than a funding story or a roadmap. It actually marks a turning point in voice AI. Smallest.ai isn't chasing trends. It's actually constructing a lean, precision-first infrastructure. In an era obsessed with scale, they're actually betting on intelligence that's fast, light, and locally anchored. What's very clear is that this is the future of AI, and it won't be about who has the biggest model, but whose interface makes sense. And for the first time, that infrastructure is not just being built in Silicon Valley, it's actually being engineered from India. Joining us on front page tonight is, well, India has made one of its boldest moves yet in the global AI infrastructure race. Adani Enterprises, through its joint venture AdaniConneX, has partnered with Google to build India's largest AI data center campus in Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. A $15 billion investment over 5 years, a gigawatt-scale AI campus, and a strategic bet that positions India as a critical node in the world's compute economy. This is not just another hyperscale center. This is actually India saying it's no longer just consuming AI, but building the rails it will run on. The announcement was led by Gautam Adani, who called it this, a monumental day for India, end quote. He wrote that Adani is proud to partner with Google to build India's largest AI data center campus, engineered specifically for the demands of artificial intelligence. This facility will house the TPU and GPU based compute power required for deep learning, neural network training, and large scale AI model inference, creating an ecosystem that accelerates AI driven solutions for India's most critical sectors, from healthcare and agriculture to logistics and finance. The partnership marks a strategic convergence between India's fastest growing infrastructure conglomerate and one of the world's most powerful AI players. It signals the emergence of India as a major player in the global compute economy at a time when AI infrastructure is becoming the new geopolitical power currency. The Google-Adani AI Hub represents a $15 billion investment between 2026 and 2030. It will be built on gigawatt scale capacity, powered entirely by green energy and connected to global networks through a dedicated subsea cable system. The campus will be purpose-built to support the training of massive neural networks, foundation model development, and inference at scale capabilities critical to the next wave of AI innovation. Backed by Airtel, AdaniConneX, and Google, the hub is expected to anchor India's AI era, enabling industries ranging from healthcare and agriculture to finance, logistics, manufacturing, and advanced research to scale their AI capabilities without relying entirely on foreign infrastructure. Visakhapatnam is not just another coastal city. Under Andhra Pradesh's Greater Vishakha Economic Corridor, Vizag is becoming positioned as the AI and data capital of India. In 2024, Andhra Pradesh IT Minister Nara Lokesh personally drove Google executives to the site. Since then, the state and central governments have worked together to clear regulatory bottlenecks and provide unprecedented clarity on taxation, energy infrastructure, subsea landing rights, and land access to market value. The project is expected to create 188,000 jobs and add over 10,000 crore rupees annually to Andhra Pradesh's GSDP between 2028 and 2032. Beyond its economic impact, the move establishes Vizag as a strategic gateway between India and global AI infrastructure networks, positioning the city at the center of the compute map. This announcement comes, well, in the backdrop of the latest move in a string of strategic bets that have been quietly reshaping India's AI infrastructure map over the past 12 months. First came TCS, with its $6 billion investment to build India's first 1 gigawatt AI data center. That moment marked the shift from Indian IT serving AI to Indian IT building the backbone of AI. Then came Meta, docking its $10 billion water-worth subsea cable in Vizag and Mumbai, turning India into one of the most critical nodes in the global AI data infrastructure network. And now, Google and Adani have entered the picture with a $15 billion AI hub, cementing Visakhapatnam's rise from a port city to, well, a compute capital. When viewed together, these aren't isolated headlines. They form a clear pattern, a strategic stacking of land, cables, and compute that mirrors how cities like Singapore, Amsterdam, and Virginia became global digital hubs. This is also where front page at AIM Network has consistently been ahead of the curve. We've been tracking this shift from the very beginning. When TCS quietly dropped its gigawatt announcement, when Meta picked Vizag for Waterworth, when Yotta revealed its sovereign GPU roadmap, and now when Google and Adani are anchoring the next wave, India's AI infrastructure story isn't just about being built, it's being accelerated project by project, gigawatt by gigawatt. This development also comes against the backdrop of a crucial moment in the India-United States technology corridor. Just weeks ago, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google quietly hit pause on new data center leases in India. Not because demand was weak, but because trade tensions between Washington and New Delhi suddenly made long term capital deployment riskier. Tariffs were raised to 50% on Indian exports. A $100,000 visa fee was imposed on H-1B applications, and routine hardware imports were caught in unpredictable customs and tariff exposure. What followed was an industry-wide slowdown. Contracts that once took 60 days began crawling past 180. No new hyperscale leases were signed. Lawyers and financiers started adding tariff pass-through and phased deployment clauses to hedge against policy shocks. This was a stress test of India's digital backbone. When the United States hyperscalers paused, domestic and strategic players began to accelerate. First came TCS with its $6 billion bet. Then Meta anchored its $10 billion water-worth subsea cable in Vizag and Mumbai. And now Google and Adani returns to the table, but not as a hesitant lessor. This time, it's a strategic infrastructure investor. And we want to stress here again that front page at AIM Network was the only publication to have been tracking this shift very closely. From the tariff shock to the hyperscaler pause to India's accelerating sovereign infrastructure push. Well, clearly, this isn't just another deal. It's quite clear, isn't it? It's a geopolitical pivot point. Unlike several Western countries that have paused new data center projects because of power constraints, Andhra Pradesh is building dedicated renewable energy grids for AI infrastructure. A combination of solar, wind, and thermal hybrid systems will power the hub, along with new transmission lines and storage infrastructure co-funded by Google. This is a part of a broader strategy to build a sustainable compute backbone at a time when global AI infrastructure is struggling with rising energy costs and grid instability. The ability to pair hyperscale compute with clean energy gives India a very strategic edge as global companies look for scalable, cost-efficient alternatives outside the United States and Europe. Basically, Thomas Kurian, CEO of Google Cloud, called this a defining moment. This is what he said. To unlock India's massive potential in the AI age, we are investing in the Google AI Hub, which will provide the critical foundation to drive growth and enable businesses, researchers, and creators to build and scale with AI. End quote. This will be Google's largest AI hub outside the United States and a cornerstone of its global expansion strategy. The hub will host advanced TPU and GPU infrastructure required for training large-scale AI models and supporting global AI demand. It aligns with Google's broader $85 billion global capex plan for expanding data center and AI infrastructure. For Andhra Pradesh, this project represents far more than a technology investment. It is a transformation of the state's economic landscape. Nara Lokesh has called it India's largest FDI investment ever. The state has embraced a speed of doing business model, integrating industrial policies, renewable power, connectivity, infrastructure, and incentives to bring mega projects to life before others even break ground. The state has already secured 1.6 gigawatt of data center commitments and is targeting 6 gigawatts over the next 5 years, supported by policy frameworks across energy, electronics, and digital infrastructure. This coordinated model between the state and the central government is what attracted Google to anchor its largest Asia Pacific AI infrastructure project in India. For years, as we know, India has depended on foreign AI infrastructure. Today, that's changing. It is building one of the largest AI data hubs in the world on its own soil. This isn't just about training models. This is genuinely about sovereign compute, economic leverage, and shaping how AI is built and deployed globally. First came hyperscaler clouds, then came GPU shortages. Now, infrastructure has become the new power play. With Google and Adani anchoring in Visakhapatnam, India has taken a decisive step toward becoming a core node in the global AI supply chain. And finally, this isn't just another data center announcement. It's a strategic signal that India intends to lead the next era of AI infrastructure. Adani and Google, $15 billion, 1 gigawatt of compute, and Visakhapatnam at the center of it all. Something big is happening in the open source AI world. For the first time in years, building a ChatGPT style model isn't locked behind billion-dollar infrastructure walls. Andre Karpathy, OpenAI co-founder and founder of Eureka Labs, has quietly dropped NanoChat, a minimal full-stack implementation of a ChatGPT clone in just, wait for it, 8,000 lines of code. Not because he wants to build another chatbot, but because he wants you to. In his words, this is what he says: you boot up a cloud GPU box, run a single script, and in 4 hours, you can talk to your own LLM. End quote. It's actually a polite way of saying the moat is gone. Here's what makes NanoChat different. Unlike Karpathy's earlier Nano GPT project, which actually focused on pre-training, NanoChat covers the full stack, from tokenizer to inference, tokenizer training in Rust pre-training, a transformer on fine web mid-training on dialogue, and MCQ supervised fine-tuning, SFT. Optional RL with GRPO, efficient inference with KV caching for, well, $100 on an 8 into 100 H100 node. You get a basic assistant in 4 hours. Train longer, 12 hours. And it beats GPT-2 core. Push it to 42 hours, well, and it starts solving coding problems, math, and MCQs. What was once a billion-dollar R&D process has actually now been reduced to a weekend project for anyone with a GPU. The reaction has been immediate. On Reddit and X, builders are calling NanoChat, well, the TensorFlow moment for LLMs, end quote. For years, training your own assistant meant, well, wrestling with obscure toolchains, scattered repos, and astronomical costs. Karpathy just put it all into one clean, hackable, forkable pipeline. It's not about competing with GPT-4. It's about lowering the barrier for the next 1,000 GPT-4 challengers. For months, Karpathy has been repeating a very simple thesis. AI is not electricity, it's a new operating system, end quote. In this new operating system, the model is the CPU. The context window is RAM. Tools are drivers. The chat interface is your terminal. NanoChat is his way of actually handing that operating system to the world. A starter kit for the next generation of builders. This launch isn't about scale, it's about access. Instead of waiting on closed APIs or corporate infrastructure, students, hackers, and startups can now, well, do this. Train their own models, experiment with the entire pipeline, build AI products end to end, fork and innovate freely. The GPU shortage may slow the giants, but this kind of open source release accelerates everyone else. This isn't the most powerful model in the world. And honestly, it's not meant to be. This is a teaching moment, like learning to build a website in the 90s, a small hackable baseline that sparks entire ecosystems. And in AI, revolutions don't start at scale. They actually start with people who can build without permission. So finally, Andre Karpathy isn't just releasing a repo. He's actually rewriting who gets to build AI. The big labs may have the biggest models, but the future will be built in small rooms with minimal code bases and a lot of imagination. The open source playbook for building ChatGPT is here, and looks like OpenAI isn't the only player now building AI OS anymore. Check out the model in the link below, please. And NanoChat is what we say: when the walls are high, someone builds a door. End quote. Please do let us know what you think in the comments below and how this new development makes you feel. Well, with that, it's time to say goodnight from Front Page on AIM Network, India's definitive media organization and voice on everything AI and technology. Front Page is powered by MachineCon 2025, an invite-only residential summit for GCC heads, exclusively brought to you by, well, yes, you guessed it, AIM Network. So till we meet again, as we say always, think AI, think AIM.